All right, let's talk Assyria. This ancient civilization has a story that's both fascinating and intense. Imagine, if you will, Mesopotamia, a land of contrasts, where the cradle of civilization was born. It's hot, it's dusty, and everyone's fighting over who gets to claim the good irrigation ditches. Water was life, and control over it meant power. We're talking roughly 2000 to 1800 BCE, so, before Twitter and sliced bread, life was simple yet incredibly challenging. Tough times. Now, Assyria wasn't some massive empire, yet it was more like a small, determined community with big dreams. It was more like that scrappy kid in the corner everyone underestimated. They had grit and determination. Situated in northern Mesopotamia, they had this fantastic view of everyone else trying to kill each other, which, as we all know, is prime real estate for a budding empire. They watched and learned. The land itself wasn't exactly a Garden of Eden. It was harsh and unforgiving. Think more rugged than relaxing. Survival here required strength and ingenuity. But hey, what it lacked in fertile plains, it made up for in, strategic positioning. They were at the crossroads of ancient trade routes and a burning desire to conquer, which, let's be honest, is a pretty good motivator. Their ambition knew no bounds. Buckle up, folks, because things are about to get messy. The rise of Assyria is a tale of relentless ambition and strategic brilliance. Every good origin story needs a hero, or in Assyria's case, a whole bunch of kings, with a penchant for battle and really impressive beards. We're talking names like Shamshi-Adad I and Ilushuma, folks you probably wouldn't want to challenge to a game of Risk. Shamshi-Adad, a real go-getter, decided that being a minor king was so last century. He went full-on empire builder, kicking off Assyria's expansion south. It wasn't just about grabbing land, though. This guy was all about trade and diplomacy, too. He knew that controlling trade routes meant power and wealth. Well, diplomacy when it suited him, let's be honest. He wasn't above using force to get what he wanted. Then there's Ilushuma, another king who took the phrase, go big or go home to heart. He was all about securing those trade routes, ensuring that Assyria's influence spread far and wide. Which back then basically meant showing up with an army and making some suggestions, strong suggestions. He even campaigned all the way down to southern Mesopotamia, a region rich in resources and strategic importance, letting everyone know that Assyria was here to stay, and they were a force to be reckoned with. They weren't taking no for an answer, and their legacy of dominance and innovation would shape the region for centuries to come. Now, let's be clear, conquering wasn't always a walk in the park, even for these guys. Take the kingdom of Mari, for example. They put up a good fight, forcing the Assyrians to bring out the big guns. Metaphorically speaking, of course, it was a back and forth with victories and setbacks on both sides, making Game of Thrones look like a playground squabble. But spoiler alert, Assyria eventually came out on top. It wasn't just about brute force, though. They were surprisingly savvy, using a combination of military might, strategic alliances, and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of intimidation to get their way. They were the ancient world's equivalent of that friend who's really good at board games and always seems to win, even when you think you've got them beat. Annoying, but also kinda impressive. Section 4. Rules, laws, and really big libraries. Conquering is fun and all, but someone's got to run the show, right? The Assyrians knew this well. The Assyrians weren't just about war chariots and epic battles. They also knew how to build a functioning society. They had to manage the vast territories they conquered. Well, functioning might be a bit of a stretch, but they were trying, okay? They had bustling marketplaces and streets filled with daily life activities. They developed a pretty sophisticated system of administration with governors, tax collectors, and enough paperwork to make a modern accountant weep. Their records were meticulously kept on clay tablets. They even had standardized weights and measures, which, if you've ever tried to bake a cake using a recipe that measures everything in handfuls, you'll understand was a pretty big deal. This standardization helped in trade and daily transactions. And let's not forget about their cultural achievements. They were patrons of the arts, creating beautiful pottery, sculptures, and intricate reliefs. These guys were crazy about knowledge, building massive libraries filled with clay tablets on everything from astronomy to literature. Their libraries were the treasure troves of ancient wisdom. Sure, most of it was written in cuneiform form, which makes hieroglyphics look like a children's book, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? Deciphering these texts has given us invaluable insights into their world. Section 5. Assyria, the OG empire that set the stage. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, early Assyria might not be as famous as, say, the Roman Empire or the Egyptian dynasties, but they were kind of a big deal. They were like the band that everyone thought was a one-hit wonder, and then they came back with a killer album and blew everyone away. They laid the groundwork for the larger, more powerful Assyrian Empire that would dominate the region centuries later. They showed the world that a small, determined group of people could, through a combination of military prowess, shrewd diplomacy, and a healthy disregard for their neighbors' territorial integrity, achieve greatness, or at least make things very interesting for everyone else. Either way, they definitely earned their place in the history books, even if it's sometimes in the footnotes.